Struggling with math in elementary school can leave a negative impression that can last a lifetime. One main source of frustration are the times tables. And Brain Magic has found a way for children who just don't fully get it to be able to master their times tables after just 12 hours of instruction. The difference is in how we teach the multiplication tables. The human brain can only hold 7 things in its short-term memory, but when the times tables are usually taught, Madison here attempts to figure out what 6 times 8 is by adding 6's together 8 times. Her brain quickly overloads trying to figure out the answer, and she rarely, if ever, gets to thinking about the concept. What if Madison just knew that 6 times 8 was 48, and that 6 times 7 was 42? Her mind would be free to think about and understand the concept that 6 times 7 is 6 units of 7, and that 6 times 8 is 6 units of 8, and 42 plus 6 equals 48, rather than overheat and short-circuit trying to find out the answer. Our goal is to give each child an understanding of the times table by having them first memorize the answers to the times table and explaining the concepts afterwards. This is a much faster way to get to the same destination of times tables mastery. But how does Brain Magic give a child who swears they can't do math the ability to learn and understand their multiplication tables? The answer is simple and effective memory techniques. Our founder, Darren Michalchuk, is a nationally renowned memory competitor and can memorize a fully shuffled deck of cards in 60 seconds. Darren is also an elementary school teacher, and he's applied the same techniques he uses to memorize decks of cards and sheets of random digits to his elementary school math curriculum. Darren and Brain Magic have invented 28 memorably odd stories that we tell kids to get them to memorize their math facts. One story for each math fact. That's it. Here's one of those stories, for example, and I want you to imagine this as I go along. A boy and his sister were playing around the house when the sister gets the idea to stack as many books as possible on the brim of her brother's baseball cap. And she just wouldn't stop. The stack got 10, 20, then 30 feet high into the air. Well, the stack of books got so high that it fell over right onto the windshield of their father's brand new Ford Mustang. Now, each object in that story represents a number. For instance, a baseball cap represents a 6 because when it's turned on its side, it looks like a 6, and they're typically sewn into 6 sections. So just like it does in every other story it appears in, baseball cap equals 6. The book represents a 7 because an open book tilted on its side looks like a 7. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Book equals 7. Children take to the associations very quickly. Now the books fell onto the windshield. That's right, of the car. That's right. Now, how many wheels does the car have? 4. Good. How many windshield wipers on the windshield? 2. Good. So 6 times 7 equals 42. Each story has consistencies that make them easier to remember and recall. For example, the images representing the numbers in the multiplication question, like the 6 and the 7, and 6 times 7, will always be the same across all the stories. Also, all images are color-coded, so that the images representing a 4 will always be purple. Ones representing a 6 will always be green. Images representing a 2 will always be blue, and 7 will always be brown, etc. We have many more learning aids built into the program, but you get the gist of it. We tell these stories to your child and rehearse the relevant parts of each story until each child understands the associations. And because children are very visual learners, and because they're pretty ridiculous and hilarious nonsensical stories, they recall each story and the math facts each story represents pretty easily. Heck, I'm sure you would recall each story easily too. That story we were talking about earlier, where did the books fall? How many wheels on the Mustang? What's 6 times 7? Good. Our times tables memorization is, as you can guess, the least boring and most effective form of times tables mastery that you'll come across. Give each child the confidence in math that they have been lacking, a confidence that will motivate them to put in a more assertive effort when learning future math topics in school. And because the memorization tools we use, the visual, nonsensical, imagined stories, are based on memorization techniques that have been proven effective over thousands of years, we also hope to plant the seed of a time-tested approach to learning and memorizing that your child might just use to memorize other subjects in the future as well, even without you prompting them to create their own fun stories to do so. You can trust us to give your child the confidence in math that they have been lacking. Support your child in learning their times tables for life, and help give your child a stronger belief in their academic ability. They'll love you, and more importantly, themselves, for doing it.